Welcome back to Talking with Teri TV. As we usher in the new year, new opportunities to create a new you is around all of us. Maybe this new you means rewiring your nervous system. Conscious relationship and intimacy coach Erin Berry is here with more. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited. We're going to be diving in about the nervous system. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got into this work.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's been my journey for a very long time. But basically I ended a marriage about 7 years ago, and really after that wanted to figure out what the heck we were up to in relationship so I didn't repeat those patterns. And through that, I ended up learning so much more than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah. Well, as we go through, and I think your kind of passion is around this conscious being, right?
Mm-hmm.
So unpack that a little bit more for us.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like especially as it pertains to relationship, we repeat the same things as long as we are not looking at why we're doing them.
Mm-hmm.
And so since we're talking about the nervous system today, a lot of the reasons that we repeat the patterns is actually because it's locked in our nervous system. And even though it might be activated and uncomfortable, it's our normal set point. And so we keep seeking out the same thing until we heal it. So that's where the consciousness comes in. The more conscious we are about our healing, the more we can clear that and then actually create what we desire.
Okay. So give us an example of that piece, like how, maybe working with a client or something like this of like, okay, how do we become aware of this piece?
Yeah, it's really interesting. A lot of the work I do is somatic. So I'm working through the body. And so we'll find these pieces, so we'll go in through a meditation and we'll actually find pieces of the body mind that there's discomfort or resistance, and we'll look into what those are. And sometimes they're inner children, or they're pieces of our parental upbringing that are actually blocking us now from what we want. So we work with those pieces and integrate them so that they no longer are running the show unconsciously.
Yeah. Because even if we just, again, like when we're tapping into our breath, right?
Yeah.
And we're doing one of those, a body scan.
Yeah.
I mean, we can really tap into and honor, what's happening in our body. And I think so often that we are just go, go, go. And we're speaking to a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm guilty of this, of getting into what I call the GSD mode, which is get stuff done mode. And we can blast past what's going on in our bodies.
Totally. Yeah. That was one of my favorite forms of self-abandonment leading up to learning all of this, right? It doesn't feel good. So we try and ignore it. But by ignoring it, we actually make it worse. And pretty soon we can't ignore it. Something happens, we get sick, we get knocked on our butts somehow, and then we have to sit and look at it. So it's not necessarily fun, but it seems imperative.
Yeah. So if we're talking about, helping us rewire our brains and rewire our nervous system, walk us through what that looks like.
Yeah, so really you have to be aware of what's happening in your body. So instead of ignoring it, you have to instead lean in. Oh, when you get stressed out, what does that feel like? What are the signals in your body? Do you feel anxious? Do you notice that you start to shut down? Anxious people especially, and it's always that thing where you're like, I can't look at the big pink elephant in the room or it's going to get worse. But actually it gets worse by not looking at it. Sometimes it's just acknowledgement, of like, I feel you body, I see you body. And then for avoidance, that's more ignoring the signals altogether, right? And when it feels like you want to run or shut down, you actually have to lean in and pay attention, so that you're actually starting to attune with your own nervous system so that you can learn tools and techniques to calm it.
Yeah, and I think this is great that we're talking about this, because I think that even for the last, 6 months to a year, I think there's, just from an energetic perspective, there's this massive, and I'm certain you're seeing it in clients, I know I am, there's this massive energy on this planet.
Yes.
And it's gone wackadoo, okay? It's gone wackadoo. But people are picking up on this energy.
Yeah.
And we're taking it on, and then we're like, what do we do with this? And it's creating a lot of chaos for a lot of people. And because we're not what I would call being grounded, right? And grounded in our energy. We're just kind of like, and I just started telling my clients, I'm like, we've got to now start a practice where we're grounding every day, because it used to be where we could be okay, you know, we could go through periods of time, but now it's like, it's here, and we're being shown so much information and so many different things that's making us really kind of tune back into and go back into like, okay, where am I? Who am I? You know, and it's just making us really, you know, look at ourselves in a way that we've never done before.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I think collectively that's such a good point. Like, that's one of the reasons it's so important to be calm in yourself, because we get pulled, right? We get pulled by our partners, our friends, our kids, and now collectively.
Yeah.
And so grounding 100%. But one of the things that I've really learned through my experiences, and we were just talking about dance before this, is you got to shake it out.
Yeah.
Like, so often it's stress that's stuck in our bodies, and to actually take a moment to shake it out. So like every day, I do some kind of like dance or shake or movement to actually clear it. Because otherwise what we're doing is we're just like repeating it over and over, trying to complete that cycle.
And I love that you say that, because I agree with you 100%. Like, movement is the fastest way to shift energy.
Yeah.
And so if you're feeling stressed, if you're, you know, getting stuck in the brain, you know, disconnected from your body, like literally just standing up, jumping jacks, running in place, taking a walk around the block, or like what you said, like, you know, just shake it out. Just shake it out. Like, we'll have to do a little. We'll have to do a little shake it out afterwards. But I mean, just start with your feet and your legs, and you look kind of silly, and you just start to shake your body, because it's powerful. It's a great way to move through it. It's still acknowledging it. It's still seeing that it's there, but you can also help release it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you've heard that example before of the deer who's being hunted in the woods by like a cougar or something, right? And it escapes. Well, if you ever watch a deer that's just escaped, they shake. And what they're doing is they're shaking off the rest of the stress. Our nervous systems actually think we're being hunted by cougars every single day. Every single thing that we go through, we think that's what's happening. And it's not, right? But we don't actually acknowledge it or do anything to shake it off so we can move forward. And I heard a while ago that especially women will hold stress, like a stress cycle, if they get activated in their system for about 24 hours. So the more that we can do to help clear that, and hopefully not even get into that state, right?
Yeah.
The better off we are.
Yeah. Okay, hold that thought. We're going to come back. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come right back to that thought about some of the things that we can be doing to also make sure that our system is regulated in the first place. We'll be right back.
I'm Jeffrey Bowling, owner and jewelry designer at Jeffrey B. Jewelers, Denver's #1 jewelry design studio. And the reason why we're #1 is because of our 3D custom jewelry design. We can show you what your piece is going to look like way before the end product. And this is going to give you the comfort of knowing you get exactly what you want.
He took me over to the computer and we started drawing up exactly what I wanted. And I told my husband, I'm like, Jeffrey B is the person we're going to use.
And the other reason is that all of our gold and our diamonds are ethically sourced. So when you're ready to make that proposal, when you're ready for that legacy piece, go to jeffreyb.com and make an appointment. Because when it's love, it's Jeffrey B.
And we're back with Erin Berry, and we've been talking about rewiring the brain for our nervous system. So tell us how we were talking about how we can, do things to get our brain reset after we've been dysregulated, but how do we maintain it for longer periods of time?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is we're just trying to create more and more safety for our own systems. So one of my favorite things, and the way I teach my clients, is teaching them resourcing, ways to start creating that safety for themselves. So a really easy way, do you want to do this with me?
Yeah, let's do it.
Quick?
Let's do it.
Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes.
Okay.
And I just want you to feel into your physical body for an area that feels safe. And usually it's going to be away from like the central part of your body, so it might be fingers and toes, but not necessarily. It could be your heart, could be your belly. So just noticing not only someplace that feels safe, but someplace that feels good. And then you can just drop your whole awareness down into that space, fully embody it. And you can even repeat to yourself over and over, I am safe.
I am safe.
Safety.
I am safe.
Yeah. And you're just retraining your self to realize, wait a minute, I can create this safety internally. Now, as you open your eyes, like do it very gently and kind of blink around and look at your surrounding, and you'll find one thing that captures your attention. And just notice all the qualities about that thing. What color it is, maybe it's sparkly, you know, anything like that. That's going to make you aware that you're in this moment right now, because so often when we're responding from a place of trauma or stress, we forget that we're here. So it just anchors us right back into this moment now.
I love it. And that's amazing. I mean, I don't know how long that took, but that was pretty quick.
Yeah.
To just re-anchor us back into this moment.
Yes.
Because when we get stressed and we have that phone call and that email and that and all these responsibilities coming towards us, it throws us off. And what I call it is it's a scattered energy, right? And then we start to operate from the scattered energy. But this is a fast way to bring it back to center.
Yeah, and just acknowledging when you're having activation so that you don't respond to that email or the conversation, you know what I mean? Like really taking a minute to be like, you've been acknowledging,
right? I
am activated in this moment. Give me about 20 minutes.
Yes.
And let's come back and, you know, or sit on the email, write it, like whatever you want to say. Like I'll do that a lot with text messages, like, oh! And then I don't send it.
Right.
Of course, you know.
Of course. Yeah.
Erase it and then send something much kinder.
Yeah.
A little bit later.
Yeah. And it's said that research has said that it takes us 90 seconds for our bodies to really express and feel the emotion. After that 90 seconds, we have some free reign to really focus on what are we choosing now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And also acknowledging that emotion. I know that's like probably a whole other episode, but so often we're told to like stuff down the anger or the sadness, but honestly it's wisdom. And so to learn how to let that flow, that's another good way to really regulate with your own system.
Yeah. I always think about, I was trained with Dr. Bruce Perry, who was like the brain guru in Texas. And, you know, he talked about the internal arousal states, right? You know, we have the calm, alert, alarm, panic, and terror. And so ultimately we can be more resourceful, I like that word that you use, when we come from a place of calm every day, right?
Yeah.
And that requires us to do the work to maintain. And the example we always gave is like, you know, if you start calm and we have something that, you know, goes awry, you know, at let's say you're driving to work and you get a flat tire. It's unexpected. It's obviously going to cause stress. And if you're like me and you hate being late to things, you're now really activated. And so it's going to bump you up to alert. And maybe, you know, you're trying to, you know, figure out how to change this tire, you're trying to do this, and now you're bumping up to alert, right? But if I start my day in that place of alert or alarm, same exact experience, it's going to bump me up to panic and terror, right? It's the same, you know, so again, it's like, how do we come from that place of calm so that we can really start the day, so that those things that kind of get thrown out of, you know, get thrown at us, then we have an opportunity to respond to it in a better way, right?
Yeah, taking time to actually check in and see where you're at. And if you do wake up, I know sometimes I've woken up that way where I'm already like, whatever, I had behind a dream or something, like taking time to actually, like I've done this in the middle of the night, shake it off, you know what I mean? And actually try and clear the cycle and just acknowledging where you're at, because some days you're just going to be off, right? And like giving yourself that grace too is really key.
I love it. Okay. Well, what else can you share with us? I mean, that's a great way to ground and anchor. What are some other tips or tricks that you have for clients that are wanting to really put the intention on rewiring your brain?
I mean, I think the main thing is that you really have to want to do this work. You know, it's not easy because it's very unconscious and you've been operating a certain way for a very long time. And I know my personal frustration when I started this work, and I hear it all the time from my clients, is, well, I know this thing now, so I should be able to like do differently. But it is so deeply ingrained. Like, think about the amount of time you've been doing it this way. It's going to take a minute. So that's like the main thing, is actually meeting yourself with compassion and forgiveness. And like I said, grace earlier, and then being willing to actually put in place. Like you were saying, like waking up, like I actually get up every morning and stretch and like take that time to make sure I'm in like a calm state, or doing grounding rituals or a little dance party, you know, doing something that feels good in your system for you. And then being willing to check in throughout the day and being willing to name it and acknowledge it and actually walk away from a situation and take the space instead of responding or reacting the way that you would have normally done before.
Yeah.
So it's very conscious the whole way through.
I love it. I love it. Well, and I think this too, because when I first started doing this work, like I'll be totally transparent, I hated it because I feel like I had this high energy around me, and I kept feeling like it dulled me. And so it would just take me to this place where I was almost like a flat affect, right? So for folks that maybe have high energy, how do we balance this out? Because and now I've learned how to do it to where I can still be my energy can be anchored. Because what would happen was when I didn't come from an anchored energy, what would happen is that I would be like this. Like my husband says it the best. He said, Teri, he's like, you're kind of like a kite. You're up there and you're like, and I'm just kind of like just doing my thing, right? And he's kind of like, he was like the kite holder, because he was just like, okay, when she comes down, you know, right? But it was really learning about how to anchor the energy so it can still have fun, you know, fun energy, but how do we ground it in, right? And so you could still have best of both worlds, because in the beginning I was like, I don't want to be, I mean, this is my personality, right? And so I felt like it was kind of taking a little of the spark away.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost the reverse of a lot of my experiences, where I've become aware there's certain people who my nervous system can't be around. It's like too much energy. But it's probably because of that.
It's me. It's not you, it's me.
I don't feel that way around you.
She's just being nice, okay?
No, I feel very calm right now. But you've learned. I mean, I think you started by talking about grounding. I mean, it is so easy. And it is like the #1 thing, right? And you shouldn't have to like dampen down your energy if you're up there. I mean, I can be that way too. You know, but it's like making sure, like you said, that it's in a like anchored and grounded way instead of like kind of sporadic and all over the place.
Yeah, because it can't. And here's the thing: is if it's not anchored. And I used to have one of my old coaches. I would come in and I wasn't anchored, and so I'd be like zing 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 zing, and then he wasn't anchored either. And so I would be able to bang. And pretty soon we're both flying. We're like whoop, we're like a rocket ship. And I realized that it was not productive for either one of us. And so until I said, okay, we've got to, and I got to be conscious of that too, because when I'm working with clients, I got to make sure I'm anchored in, because I can get excited by little things, you know. And so just making sure that energy is, you know, fully connected and fully anchored. So what is your favorite anchoring, either imagery or anchoring exercise that people can take away with them today?
Before I say that, I just also want to point out, when you're working, because I do Tantra work as well, one of the things I help people do is co-regulate together. So a really easy way to avoid doing what you're just saying, whether you're in partnership or like a client coach relationship, is taking like 3 deep breaths together and actually attuning your nervous systems that way. But I love to, first of all, my friends, like, you can always start with a new grounding cord. So every time I start with a new grounding cord, because why not? And I actually will just inhale and send that cord all the way down into the earth. And as I exhale, pull that earth energy up, and just do that until I feel nice and grounded. It works in airplanes. Like, you don't have to actually be in contact with the earth, you know, as long as you can visualize it and send that grounding cord all the way down. It works.
Yeah, and I mean, everything's energy, so we're all connected, interconnected, and it's a powerful way to get grounded and to start, like you said, rewiring your nervous system. And like you said, it takes practice.
Yes, absolutely, and worth it. So keep trying.
Okay, so final thoughts, final things for the audience to take away today.
Oh my goodness. There's probably so much I could say, but really, like, the nervous system controls like way more than you think it does. And the more that you can pay attention to it and really attune and co-regulate with your own, the easier your life will be. Like, you don't have to live from stress and activation. You really don't. If you don't want that, you don't have to live that way.
Yeah, and I think that's just a great reminder, especially with this, we were talking about, you know, before the break, is that, you know, this energy that we're experiencing is so intense right now. And the more that we can do the work internally, the better it is, not only for us. And I read this, this book the other day, and I loved it. She said, you know, if you work on creating peace within, that's one more person on this planet to have peace. If you don't, that's one more person on this planet who's dysregulated and, you know, not grounded, right? And I was just like, wow, like if I can contribute to this planet as a whole, why not me choose peace, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I think eventually, if enough of us are doing this, we'll tip the scales
Yes.
away from us all being in activation to more calm.
It's the 100th monkey, you know, syndrome, like, right? When there's enough of the, you know, kind of the herd mentality, it does have an energetic impact, and it has a ripple effect across the planet. So we're doing our part today to help you and I regulate so that we can make a world a better place. Like, right? We're doing tough stuff, right?
We are.
We are doing real powerful work, okay? Anyways, okay, where can people connect with you, learn more, and, you know, get into a place of practice of rewiring the nervous system?
Yes, so I have a website, erinberrybliss.com, and my Facebook is Erin Berry Bliss. Really easy to remember all of these. And then Instagram, @ErinBerryBliss.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. And we can't wait to, you know, incorporate some of these tools and practices into our daily routines, okay? Make sure that you grab our daily intentions planner so that you can incorporate this right into there so that you're doing and living more intentionally. All right, my friends, as always, be bold, be brave, be fearless, be the magic of you. Massive love, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell to find out about my upcoming shows. Thank you for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time.